Hi, I'm Penny and this is my channel. When Saints Row the Third was announced and people started getting excited for it, I started getting excited for it too, regardless of not having played any games in the series before that. A few weeks before it came out, I picked up Saints Row 2 and decided I'd may as well play it before I get Saints Row the Third. And I just loved the game so much that I started anticipating Saints Row the Third so much. So after I got through whatever I could of Skyrim last week, I jumped right into Saints Row the Third and just played that non-stop this week, which has been amazing. Before I get into the bulk of the review, I just wanted to quickly mention where I got this game from, which was Green Man Gaming. They're an online distribution service that sell games really cheap, and I definitely recommend checking them out at www.greenmangaming.com. They have really good prices and a whole bunch of coupons and sales and stuff, which is awesome, so definitely want to recommend them to you guys. And now on with the review. For those of you who aren't aware, because I wasn't before a couple of months ago maybe, Saints Row the Third is very similar to Grand Theft Auto in the sense that it's a very open world sandbox game. It kind of leads you to your own devices. You can just do the storyline, which is great, or you can veer off and do little side missions and accessorize your character and do a bunch of other stuff. Saints Row the Third kind of takes the wackier side of this, whereas Grand Theft Auto kind of sticks to the rails of a generic gang kind of story. Saints Row the Third really pushes the limits of how immature and silly a game can and should be, and I think that's one of the reasons people find it so fun. On the one hand, it can get kind of gimmicky sometimes, but on the other hand, it is a nice game to just jump into, forget about real life, and just do the most ridiculous things. Saints Row the Third is a little different from the first two games in the series, in that the Saints are already a successful gang. You don't need to work from the ground up and build the gang up around you. You get to start out with the gang already in place and already having some really loyal gang members. So you do kind of start out in a more powerful position than the first two games. It doesn't make it any less fun though, which is good. Another one of the great things, my favourite thing they've done from the first two games, is they've completely overhauled the respect system. In the first two games, the respect system was kind of used as a credit almost. You had to earn respect by doing side missions and little stunts around town, and that respect would be used to play the story missions, which was a pretty cool system, but it meant that sometimes you would have to, leave the story that you're really involved in and go and do a weird side mission just to get the respect to continue on. In Saints Row the Third, the respect system works more like an experience level. As you earn more levels, you can purchase more upgrades for your character, like higher ammo capacity, bigger health, more regenerating health, there's a whole bunch of different upgrades. There's way too many to go into right now, but that's definitely my favorite thing. It means that you can just go through the story and power through that if that's what you're interested in. Otherwise, you can do the side missions and still do those and make your character more powerful, which is another great thing to do. But I just love that they haven't made it that you had to, leave the story sometimes and go and do a side mission for no reason. I've been playing Saints Row the Third on PC. I played Saints Row 2 on PS3, fairly recently, so it's been interesting to see the different controls and stuff. The PC controls have been really good, actually. I was happily surprised because it does seem like the kind of game that's suited for consoles and kind of gets a, half-assed port to PC. It's actually been really great to play on PC, and I've been really pleased with that. For me personally, it makes it a much more enjoyable experience because I'm just better at shooting on PC. And so I think it's the kind of game you definitely want to play on the console. You're most comfortable playing shooting games on the best console for aiming for you, which is PC for me. I've also been pretty pleased with the graphics on PC. Like I mentioned in my Skyrim video, my PC isn't, so high-end, but it's pretty, average, I guess, and the graphics have been, perfectly perfect on this. It's not an outstandingly, beautiful game, but it does what it's supposed to do, and in a giant open-world sandbox game, it looks pretty decent, for what it is. There are a couple of other things that I think Saints Row the Third did much better than the first two games. The first one is the customization. There's so much more customization for your character available in Saints Row the Third. The only thing is there's a couple of things that I kind of miss from the first game, or the first two games. The first one is that there's a lot of repetitive stores. Most of the stores in the game are Planet Saints, which all stock the same clothing options. There is one of 3 other stores in the entire game, but the rest are Planet Saints, which can get a little repetitive at times. The hair is also a little bit left to be desired. When I customize a character, I pretty much always go for long, flowy hair, kind of like mine. So I kind of like to have that in a game as well, but Saints Row the Third doesn't have a lot of options for that, and the clipping does get kind of weird on clothes and hair sometimes, but it's nothing game-breaking at all. It's definitely still really enjoyable. The second thing kind of ties into the upgrade system that I mentioned earlier with the new respect system overhaul. and that is that sometimes you'll get choices in the game, and I guess this is a spot where in other games you'd be given like a moral choice which would affect your character's morality or whatever. In Saints Row the Third, there's no point trying to have a good character or anything, but occasionally you'll be able to make a choice that'll either, give you some kind of permanent reward. Like, there was one choice fairly early in the game where you could pick one of two options, and one of them meant you would get an immediate, boost in cash. The second one would give you a kind of long-term cash flow over time, so over time you'd make more, but that's not the best example of that, but there are some pretty interesting choices in the game, and it's cool to have that option in the sense that you are really making a custom character, even though, like I said, it doesn't, at this point, seem to affect your character's morality or anything, because, Saints Row the Third, your character is pretty much insane. There's no way to make that character good in any sense of the imagination. Overall, Saints Row the Third makes some great improvements over Saints Row 1 and 2, but it is still more of the same fun. It doesn't get too repetitive considering it is the first game in the series, which is definitely a bonus. And if you did enjoy the first two games, I would definitely recommend looking into Saints Row the Third. Even if you haven't played them, still look into it if you're looking for that kind of open world, ridiculous fun, because it really is a fun game to just dive into and forget about the bad day you had and just go on a rampage. It does at some points get a little bit questionable in terms of content, and you can definitely tell that they've really pushed the barriers in this one. They've tried to see how far they could take it, and in some situations, it does get a bit too far and a little bit too uncomfortably vulgar. I guess that's the term I'm looking for. And I'm not going to get into specifics, but you can definitely tell when you're playing that that's the kind of thing you'll be thinking yourself. But aside from that, it is a great game. It just is definitely deserving of the rating that it got, which is, fairly mature rated for adults. And if you are over that age and you can handle that kind of game, definitely look into it because it is a whole lot of fun. And that is pretty much everything I have to say about Saints Row the Third, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you have any comments or anything in regards to this video, just leave them in the comment section below. And don't forget to check out my Facebook, my Twitter, and my blog. The links can all be found in the description. And now that that's over, I'm going to go play the hell out of Skyward Sword because I picked it up earlier and I'm super excited. So my next video will probably be talking about Skyward Sword, so look forward to that. And I'll see you guys again in a few days probably. Alright, bye.